the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. Today we're indeed gonna do something in Houdini again. Period. Before I'm starting, whatever creative endeavor that you are maybe quote unquote participating in, there's probably always a person that is gonna judge that creative. Well, for me then, the first question is, does this person have the credentials, I guess, to actually judge my work, to actually judge this work? On one hand, I mean, of course, some people do not have any formal education or formal education in a certain subject, and they still really do know what is good and what is bad, what looks good and what doesn't look good, and so on and so forth. I mean, there are just some individuals that can do that. And, taking their opinion and thinking about it, at least thinking about it. I do not really want to say that, whatever they say should be, should be taken really, really tremendously ultra mega serious. So this on one hand. Some people listening to them would not make too much sense. Some people also just like to talk. And of course it is a pity that maybe those are, those people are above you and they grade you and whatever. So in the end, there's going to be certain drawbacks to not listening to them, certain drawbacks to not thinking about what they have said and then maybe working on that and trying to just incorporate that just for the grade. Even though I think it is your project and developing this opinion, I guess, and also the sense of, what looks good for me, what is good for me. Not necessarily what is your style, what is you. When somebody sees this poster or this design or this building or whatever, that this person says, okay, this was done by X, Y, and Z. Doesn't necessarily have to be the case. So this on one hand, and yeah, on the other hand, does it always have to be like super duper amazing for somebody else? Can't I just do it for myself? Can't I just do it for the sake of learning a lot? Trying to incorporate as many ideas, as many techniques, as many whatever, so that this project that I'm doing in formal education, that I can at least use my time as efficiently, effectively, and as wisely maybe as possible. Wouldn't this also be a good approach? I mean, there are so many good approaches, and in the end, what anyone thinks of you, and I would actually say including your work, doesn't really matter too much, unless you make it matter, unless you really think about it, unless you're just, can you say taking something to the heart or something? I guess there was something saying like that. Anyway, as you can see already in the background, we are in Houdini. And by the way, also because things are really subjective very often. So when I'm doing something in Houdini, then I think it is quite cool. Somebody else might say, okay, that's utter bullshit because X, Y, and Z. And, one actually needs to be okay with that, I guess. So I do want to have, what do I want to have today? What do I want to do today? It's probably going to be some simulation. Isn't there something that I've used before as well? I'm just thinking about all those quote-unquote techniques, I guess. We may also, I think that today we're actually going to start with the sphere, because I really rarely start with a sphere. So now we're having a sphere. That's amazing. That is cool. We might polyslice that for whatever reason. I really do not know why, but for some reason I just wanna poly slice that. Let's see. Cool, amazing. So we're having all those slices. Great. I could actually also do that. This could actually also come in handy. This could actually also come in handy because we are setting this aside. I think the number of slices is okay, and we're gonna create a pop network. By the way, what if I polyframe this thing just because I want to see what is gonna happen? What if I polyframe this thing? Nothing is gonna happen. First edges, points, okay. Because there are many poly things and I have not tried out all of them, like the polyfill, polydraw, polydoctor. I have tried polycap. I've also tried the bridge. This should probably also work curved. Can't I do that? What does it say? It's not a valid group. Okay, great. Divisions. Curved. So this should actually theoretically work. Bridging, spine, yeah, whatever. Anyway, what I do want to have, and I really hope that this works like I think it does, I do want to start with a location, a pop location. I'm going to plug this in here. And also give me a piece of current. Let me get myself a piece of current. Yes, that's absolutely what I want to have. And then I want to have a steer path plugging in here. And I'm gonna just use the poly slice. And we are gonna actually set nothing to anything, but we're gonna do maybe 50 here and see what it does. And it already does something. What might be the problem here is that there are way too many points, so it's a bit unnecessary. And also the steer force might be a tiny bit too big. Might also be I would like it just to be a tiny bit slower. I mean, I could add some pop wind. Let's actually maybe do that. And I guess increase the air resistance. Okay, now we're having a thing. Maybe not that much. Yeah, I don't actually know if this works like I wanted to, but we're gonna just have to see. We're gonna add a trail. And to this, that ends the other thing. Then we're gonna increase the trail length by 200 or something. And maybe also decrease that to 0.1 maybe, so that we're getting a few lines here. Now when we are doing the VDB from particles maybe, most often it does work rather well with the particles unless they're too big like now. So we're gonna stay maybe 0.3, which is often quite okay, and also 0.8 here, which is even too big. 0.5, I think 0.2. This works. Okay, looks like a certain Austrian cake. Anyway, maybe by going inside here and maybe getting rid of the turbulence and also the roughness down. Yeah, now we can see. That's interesting. And anticipation path variance, we might just play around with the settings here. And we may also have a swirl size and an amplitude to just see what, yeah, because it really does something there. So we're going back here and just having a look at what we can create there. And I think it already looks quite nice. This fluent thing. What we might also do is VDB from particle fluid, because sometimes it's a bit of a better result. At least at my point of view, it really depends on how you think about things and what you like and what you dislike. But sometimes it just looks a tiny bit better, even though I really do enjoy like this style of not having a consecutive line all the time, but just having some dots here and there and a bit of a quote-unquote rougher texture, I'd say. Yeah, I think this is not really of my liking. So we're gonna get back to this one. And I do like this piece here. So VDB convert. We're gonna convert this into a polygon soup, and we also increase this to, yeah, maybe not that much. 0.1 maybe should already be kind of enough, so that we're not having like incredibly big file sizes. Then we're gonna add attribute blur to maybe smooth out things a tiny bit, so that we're getting like those really, really thin lines that I actually enjoy. What I do not necessarily enjoy is having some pieces that are just floating around, but one would have to deal with them in some way. What I mentioned previously, we might actually also see what this looked like. No, I actually liked this piece here, I guess. No, I like this one. So 189, maybe let's go to 190, just for the sake of it. Yes, I do like this one. What I've mentioned previously, so, and doing that, of course, would be nice to have a connection there, but sometimes it is what it is. What I mentioned previously, and this might actually solve this problem, what I've done there is having quite high of a trail length, and also quite a low trail increment. So when I'm going back to 1, I'm just getting this huge thingy thing. This is changing the form quite dramatically, and we're also having a bit more of a open form, a bit more of volume, I'd say. So when you're heading back to here and then back to here, it should connect things at least to a certain degree, and this might create some really amazing forms. In this case, I think it is a bit too something. It could be smoother, so we might also smoothen it previously also with the VDB smooth here. I hope you're actually seeing things. Yeah, it's fine. The VDB smooth, so that we're not having to use this one too much, maybe just a 10 or something. And let's have a look at this. Yes, this is already, I mean, the comparison is just huge. We could definitely also go a bit further, but I think we might also do that and then have a look at this. I think this 4 was rather fine, but let's play around with these settings, because maybe also actually taking like the really last bit of it so that we're having even a bigger volume. Let's see what this looks like. Yes, and maybe just actually, what about having 3 or something? Is this gonna, yeah, I thought so. What if I get rid of this one? No, okay. What if I go back to 0.5? Well, this looks way better. And actually looks quite good, not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Actually looks quite okay. And yeah, that we can see. I mean, of course, I think by looking at the trail output, quote unquote, you can already see like what might work. We might actually also go further down, but then we're having something like this, which I think is not as cool, or something like that. It should be even a bit more something. We might also go to 0.7 to just see what is happening here. But I believe to maybe 6 or 5 be the best. I think 5 was actually quite okay. It looks the least like just something. And I like the form of it. I really do. This may actually already be it. We might have a look at, I don't know. Nah, that's not it. I do really like this detail, and this is what I meant before. We're having some parts that are kind of perforated, and some parts that are solid, and some parts that, you know, where there's nothing quite. And also thinner lines and whatever. We could definitely also, can I use 1? I don't think so. No, I can't. 1.5. Yes, 1.5 is also possible to have even a higher resolution, which does result in more detail. But to what cost in the end? I mean, this is better. I like it. We might actually also do that. Oh no, that's actually really unnecessary. We could actually do like 2 or something, or maybe even 3, because I believe in the end we do not need that high resolution in certain areas like this. And yeah, I think that this is actually quite it. And of course, we could maybe try out a box and polyslice that box and see what we're getting then. Let's see what is happening there. Might be good, might be bad, and of course we can also play around with, it's actually quite similar. Can this be the case? I mean, it's actually the same. Nah. Well, the same, but the different, like, we've been at 190, weren't we? Yeah. Now we're having this, which is also cool, I think. I think this was just some preview mistake, yeah, I guess. Yes, it was. Because in the end we're having something like this, which I think is also not bad. I mean, one would have to play around with the settings again, maybe making sure that it is somewhat of a volume and just nothing. But yeah, let's get back to the 190 and save that. And also getting rid of this preview, I guess. So There we go. And with that being said, I'm going to see you next time I at least